Hearing
Okay, thank you. What about are you guys hearing complete?
Yes, we are complete.
Oh, what about closing government? Yes, hearing complete.
Here incomplete.
What about CEO? Are you guys hearing complete?
hearing complete.
All right. Thank you for the confirmation. So we'll start the debate. Please make your own timer because I will not. Yeah, I will not notice the time. I will not give you notifications of the time, but and also please remember your. Oh wait a minute. What is? Okay, cool. Thank you, Kaito. We will start from the PM. Let's invite the Prime Minister. Here.
All right, give me a moment to grab a sip. All right. For my POI preferences, I would just like you to open your mic and just state it clearly so that I will hear it, and not through chat because I won't be reading it. For my pronouns, you could just refer to me as a he, him. All right. I'll start my speech soon. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. In the status quo, we see many of these social movements either brought up by a certain individual or a group of people who collectively decided to support a social movement, right? However, there are certain individuals however, these certain individuals tends to be much more one-sided or extremely biased in a way that there are lack of check and balance and resources on their side, right? The fact that we cannot control these people and instead just follow whatever they are supporting is much more harmful in and of itself. How does this? Okay, 3 points I've said it before. To crystallize my debate first. How does this look like? It looks like Martin Luther King leading the Black people to justice and freedom as compared to the BLM movement or the Black Lives Matter movement. Once the party dies on their side, for example, in the certain individual role model, the movement gets segregated. Now, secondly, how do we actually define these collective protest group, and how do we define an individual role model? How do they work as well, right? Look, these collective protest group looks like a group or a movement led by not a single individual, but it is collectively supported by a group of people, right? Who actually supports these group and actually defends them as it is part of their identity as well, not just one individual. Or there are no certain leaders or individual role models like the BLM movements or LGBTQ movements, which doesn't really have a tangible leader or a role model in there, as compared to these individual role model like Martin Luther King or James Charles or James Charles, who has lack of check and balance and support per se on their side, right? Um exactly because the fact that they are only supporting their self and not actually discrediting these people, right? These other people as well. How do they work? They actually work by like riling up a population, right? For example, when Martin Luther King actually riled up an entire population to actually support the Black people, but it's more like supporting him. The moment he dies, these entire movement that he actually made segregates entirely, right? Now, thirdly, since this is a judgment motion, the burden of proof in here is simply to prove why these collective protest groups are indeed better as compared to individual role models like leading a social movement, right? Before that, 2 points of argument in my debate. And your first argument in here will be going on the lack of check and balance and resources on their side, and second of all will be the efforts that they are that are done by an individual role model actually discredits people who actually work for them in the background, right? Now, for my first point of argument here, the lack of check and balance and resources, first of all. Now, the problem most social movements are facing are three things here that we must identify. First of all is the support from the people in a gray area or at least one side of the political spectrum. Second of all is the resources and charity or charity and donations from their followers, right? And thirdly is and thirdly and crucially in here is a relevance towards everyone, all in all, to grow a larger audience and actually be able to grow in society as well and actually raise awareness from our people, right? Now, however, these motions, which are led by individuals, actually tend to lack in all these three sectors, as compared to ours, which are which in these three sectors we are very strong at right now. How is that so? How do these certain individuals tend to lack in all these three sectors, which I've just mentioned before? First point here is the lack of check and balance from these people, right? Meaning that they tend to have to force their ideologies, which are unparalleled to some of their followers, right? Or principles which are questionable. And you know, they tend to rile up a population of, as I've said just now, a population which tend to have a very shallow understanding of what they're actually supporting in here. Exactly because exactly because the thing which they're supporting is exactly the thing which these certain individual role models or leaders actually tend to support. The fact that Hitler single-handedly gained support from the entirety of Germany is an exception, yet it proves why not all Germans actually agreed to his questionable decisions, right? And the movement individual, for example, like Martin Luther King, when the leader of the certain movement, like Martin Luther King or Hitler dies, the entire movement segregates or crumbles all in all, right? Secondly, is the lack of resources and or charity coming from their people. Since only one certain individual is acting like a leader in here, their followers tend to have a lack of sense of urgency or identity because what they're supporting isn't really what they actually understand. As I've mentioned before, these people tend to have a very shallow understanding on what they're actually supporting because what they're supporting is just basically following what their leader supports, right? Whatever their leader supports might not be actually aligned towards their ideologies or their principles, right, in the first place, but they just support it nonetheless because they have a shallow understanding of what they're actually supporting, and therefore a shallow lack of urgency or a lack of sense of urgency and identity, causing them to be actually less productive or progressive as well, right? And often the leaders, they just tend to be followers and not really an actor, and which is actually, you know, helping or donating towards these movements all in all, right? And when this actually happens, these social movements led by certain individuals actually tend to lose relevance, and as well as the crucial supports which are needed, exactly, which is why these movements which are led by a certain individual is actually much more harmful compared to our side, where we actually compared to our side, where movements such as the BLM movement or the Black Lives Matter movement can actually stay relevant in the eyes of the public, right? Because even if one person dies in there, it actually kind of like the movement just keeps going on, right? There is no certain leader or individual in that group which actually leads the group and is the crucial person or the key person in that group. And exactly why it is much more relevant in the eyes of the public, right? As more people means more followers, and a potential and a potential to actually even grow further and raise awareness amongst the public, right? The moment when George Floyd dies, actually, he's seen as more like a hero and not really the leader, right? And exactly when one person from these group actually gets harmed or dies, more people actually tend to raise awareness in the end of the day, right? It doesn't just segregate entirely, like how MLK, when he actually supports the black people in the past, right, for just and whatnot, when he actually dies, the entire movement actually segregates, right, and becomes so irrelevant in public that people or black people at that time actually gets treated much more worse after he actually passed away. As these people share as on our side, these movements which are like collectively by a group of people are usually, yeah, those people actually tend to share the same identity, not as a follower, but as a member of the social movement, which impacts on a lot of people, making them much more keen to show support, since what they are fighting for or defending seems to be their identity or as a part of that social movement, right? And not just one basic person, right? Not one certain individual, not a single charitable person or an individual which such as Hitler, Martin Luther King, or Malala Yousafzai, they tend to be much more stimulated to defend these movement as you know, it is they themselves that they are protecting. It is their own identity that they're protecting in the end of the day, not just a certain single individual, which discredits them for what they work and support and for what all the work and support that they have given. And therefore, this is actually leading towards my second point of argument, which is the efforts that are done by these individual role models, right, actually discredits them in the end of the discredits their followers in the end of the day. The fact that they are much more, you know, glorified in the end of the day, the fact that in the end of the day, people such as Sukarno and Hatta are more glorified than the people actually who actually supports them in the making of for example, the Pancasila or the making of the proclamation, for example, actually proves why they actually discredit people who are actually supporting them in the end of the day. Compared to our side, when all these people actually work together or rile up together in this certain group, right, for example, they actually tend to share the same identity and actually tend to credit everyone in that social movement, exactly why it becomes more relevant and exactly why they actually want to support the social movement even more on our side compared to theirs. And therefore, we are very proud to propose.
All right, thank you, PM, for the speech. Like, guys, just a short reminder that Kayito already shared screen that you can see the time there, and I will not write anything after 7 minutes and 20 seconds. To respond to case, let's invite the leader of oppositions. Here.
Oh wait, it's 7 minutes 20 seconds.
Yep.
Oh, I thought it's. Oh, sorry. I thought it was 8. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, am I audible and clear?
Yes, you are.
All right, so give me some seconds to prepare my paper. And my gender pronouns he or him, and you can just simply unmute yourself if you have any POI. Probably I'll be accepting 1 PO at least for the point of engagement. Well, I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Judges and panels debater. We think that what the government trying to say is here is basically they just want to telling to us that basically this group of people, which is majority, actually is already supporting all of the areas of the people. But we believe actually that the diversity of the people, the diversity of the opinions and the complexity of the arguments, something that they need to answer in the very first beginning. How then, for example, they become collective if they don't have, for example, same ideas or same visions, because in the end of the day, you have a mass, for example. If in our side also we are going to achieve this kind of this mass even better in our side of the house. Well, before I jump to my arguments, I'm going to give my contribution to debate first about the response or rebuttals, and the second of all, I'm going to give my principle and practical arguments. So going to respond, we think that what the case that they're trying to bring to us basically is still unclear for us, because we don't see any tangible effect. How then, for example, this majority, for example, can influence people, and then finally can, for example, change the stigma of comparatively, for example, a certain individual like Malala, for example, can change education into a better situation. For example, they don't have a clear vision and a clear vision and mission to actually achieve this kind of this situation. That's why still a big question is in our side of the house. We think that their idea actually is already like backlashing when they just like glorifying, for example, I mean, the idea of the collective group means like it's the part of the identity. Exactly. Even we are as individual, for example, we still have our identity. There are two major points that they actually broke in this debate. First, they're talking about like lack of check and balance if you are a certain individual, because you push your idea, you just very, for example, egocentric because you don't think about the community. Again, we think that certain individuals such Malala, for example, why then, for example, these persons can be accessed until the end of the day, at the end of the day, because they change the society into a better situation. Unlikely to happen in your side of the house. You didn't create a such like a tangible change, for example, comparatively to the certain individuals such Malala, Martin Luther, for example, already like or even like, for example, Nelson Mandela, to change, for example, how the apartheid, how, for example, the people with this color of skin already get their how can I say their right, the civil rights. So this kind of these things they fail to show to us that actually their how can I say judgmental arguments are already better than us, for example. We think that in our side as individual we still have like check and balance, because in the end of the day we still have followers. Why then, for example, a certain figures as an individual, they can let's take for example influencer, you can get more followers, for example, because people like feeling sensitively that basically we are in the same area, we have a similar case, for example, similar situation, so that basically this followers is coming in, then in the end of the day we have like still like we still having check and balance. It means that it's still happening in our side, even better. Why? Because you see, for example, when people as individual they becoming like a figure. Let's not just bring, for example, Malala. Just bring some of the persons, for example, Greta Thunberg. I mean, just as a comparison, for example, they can campaign, for example, environmental destruction. It's really easy to gain more followers because people for example, media attract to this kind of this person. So transfer, for example, to the past, even for example Malala, even they are also die, but this kind of this philosophically, I mean, the idea of the heroic, for example, to change the society still can be transferred to a certain individual. And then the second of all, they're talking about the less productive. We think that even we are more productive. Why? Because basically it's more like very sensitive to the to individual. You know, if you're talking about the rights, for example, you're talking about your individual right, for example, and later on you're talking about, for example, collective rights. So when people like being together, for example, in the end of the day, we're gonna create collective rights. So basically, it's going to be access in our side of the house. And then move to my arguments. Yeah, I'm going to talk about in the principal way that basically in a certain individual, we think that the idea of the figure itself is very important. Why? Because it's giving a better affection to attract mass, for example. Because if you want to change the system of the society, you have to have your followers. Exactly what's your goal to actually achieve more people. In our side of the house, we already like more selective to actually, because only people who have a certain interest to our community can join it with us. And in the end of the day, it didn't create you a dispersal of the idea or perspective, and in the end of the way make you difficult and harder to actually achieve your goals, to actually, for example, change the stigma and also like campaign, for example, the civil rights violations and like enforcing the law, for example. And the second of all, we think if you're talking about the civil rights, we have to talking about the roots of the problem, for example. So you have to come back to the individual. This certain individual are already being figures and already gained the followers. That's why then they have a power to actually approach each individual has a similarity of problem. And in the end of the day, it can really easily to, for example, yeah, as you say, for example, you dove about donation and everything. We can already get this kind of this donation easily because we already have our community. And we think that what could be worse in the side of the house is that they have a very complex ideas. It then can prolong and also make the situation getting worse. It's because like each individual have a different perspective. Because see the status quo, for example, people doing demonstration and try to campaign things, somehow they just only ikut them. For example, they just following the trend without thinking about what's the real goals of this situation, for example. But comparatively, for example, as individual, they already like very clear in their vision, for example, to campaign about education or inequality in education and inequality of the treatment of the for example, how the skin the majority of the people with the skin of color, for example, black people, for example. So this kind of this thing can be resolved in our side of the house. That's why we are as opposition team, we believe that a certain individual already first have a very good influence. So the second of all, in practical way, basically they already like been proven that they already gain more followers than the people, like for example, they just like talking together and then we don't even know like they have a different perspective. That's why we are pro to oppose. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, LO, for the speech. You spent on 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Just a short reminder that guys still have a POI and please engage the another team. And let's invite the second speaker from the opening government to respond to case. Here.
Hold on a second, may I go to the restroom first? Give me like around 3 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angeline, and my pronouns are she, her. And for my POI preference, I prefer if you just open your mic and state POI. All right then. I will start my speech in 3, 2. Wait, hold on a second. I forgot my timer. I really forgot my timer. Let's review. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels. For this long, we have been celebrating individuals who we consider role models, who we think brought change to the world, but we often forget that those changes are also collective efforts done by so many people. For example, by spreading the word about a certain ideology, organizing protests, and other attempts that are done to process about something. And without these group of people, whatever changes happen in society won't happen. Hence, why we're proud to propose. Now, to restate my burden of proof, our burden of proof here is that we are responsible to prove to you that the celebration of collective protest groups is better than celebrating individual role models only in society. Now, before I move on to my extensions and arguments, I would like to start with my independent rebuttal. I have one point of independent rebuttal here. So opposition dared to come to this debate, saying that having individual role models appeal better to society as and they can achieve more followers because they have a better appeal to society. And then people will say, oh, we want to follow that role model because they seem good. Okay, so this is not exclusive to their side of the motion. We also have this benefit. Let's take an example: Black Lives Matter, or the BLM movement. Okay, the BLM movement after the death of George Floyd had a really good appeal in front of other people. So it's not necessarily an effort of one role model having good appeal in front of people, but the effort of the movement itself, a group of people who wanted to end injustice and inequality against Black people, and they already have a good appeal to society, right? Okay, and even if that part that I explained before isn't really for example, groups not having a good appeal in the first place to society, then it's also not exclusive to only our side. They also have that part, like but individuals at the first time, before, when they want to protest about something, they don't really have a good what you call it, they don't really have a good appeal, because people think it's different from what other people from what society thinks. They're trying to be different, and they're like a danger to society. And that's why whatever harms and benefits of having individual role models, having better appeal to society, and being able to achieve more followers and etc., isn't only exclusive to their side, but it's also on our side. Okay, moving on to my extensions. So my first speaker said that there's a lack of check and balance and resources, because basically we follow them without any hesitations, and then they can direct us to do anything. And then basically to gain more funds and gain more followers and etc., it's going to be way harder if you celebrate like individual role models and etc. Now, they replied with individuals such as Malala, even though they might have egoistic aims and etc., which I will explain later on in my extension, they still brought change in society. They still have followers that will check, they'll check the ideology if it's actually right to what the world thinks and etc. Now, okay, society believes in these individual role models so much. They think that they're so good because they think these role models are purely good, are fully pure, good, fully for the people. They're all selfless and etc. But sometimes we forget that these individual role models are also humans. They also have their downsides. They can be manipulative, extremely manipulative, in fact, and they sometimes have like their own egoistic goals. And probably their egoistic goal is to bring society into conflict just for their benefits. Now, this conflict can break society, see relationships, and etc. It'll just cause chaos, utter chaos. Now, with the chaos that happens because of politik adu domba or something that these individual role models done, people outside of the movement itself will see that these supporters are bad people because they cause chaos and conflict between other people, between societies, between groups of people in the society. And that's why leading the movement itself that is started by this individual role model to die out because of the disrespect and etc. Now, okay, even if these individual role models does not have egoistic aims, or they're not trying to manipulate society, what happens if these role models die, which is what my first speaker has brought? No one will continue their legacy because they just move on with their life, because they think, oh, that's them, not me. I can't copy them. I'm not them, basically. And they will think that, oh, society is doomed already. Our ideology, our ideology is dead already, because the person who proposed the idea was dead already. Whereas with collective groups, the legacy continues because it is a team effort. All you need is just a title. Oh, we fight for feminism, and many other people will help actually fight to fight for it. If you don't pinpoint it to actually one name only, people will actually equate themselves with the name of the movement itself, and not the person who started gitu kan. If you started as a collective group of protest gitu loh, and then and they feel like they can continue because they're part of the group, and then it's going to be like a more longer term benefit, etc. There will be global spread, and then on our side of the motion, movements such as BLM movement can actually stay relevant to the eyes of public, as more people means more followers and the potential to grow even further and raise awareness amongst public, as these people share the same identity. Not as a follower, but as a member of a social movement, which impacts on a lot of people, making them much more keen to show support, since what they're fighting for or defending seems to be their identity as a part of the social movement. Not a single charitable person or individual such as Martin Luther King Jr. or Malala Yousafzai, they tend to be much more stimulated to defend the motion, as it is their own identity which they are protecting as well, not just a single individual who discredits them for their work and the support they have given. This is where our second argument matters. The efforts that are done by individual role models discredits the people who actually help them with the back. Now, that's for my second extension. Moving on to my second extension. Okay, the government opposition hasn't replied to the statement that we oftentimes forget to credit those who also help in promoting these movements, from help these individuals achieve their goals and etc. For example, Pahlawan Proklamator or Soekarno-Hatta. We forget to credit those who actually fought to get Soekarno-Hatta to proclaim Indonesia's independence in Peristiwa Rengas Dengklok. Without them, we won't be debating here right now. We won't be sitting here right now. Without their collective movements, we won't be free from the shackles of colonialism. And remember, the group of people, these group of people help the role model achieve their goals to protect and cover for them, and without them, change won't happen. Remember, change is a team effort. Teamwork makes the dream work. You often hear that all the time, right? For example, also, I'm going to bring up another example, like the moon landing. We credit oftentimes the astronauts who first stepped on the moon or who first went to space, but we forget the hundreds of people, probably thousands, who built the rocket, built the system, create the algorithm, set the date of launch, and etc., control everything, even the people who actually supported from behind, like, for example, emotionally and mentally. And by crediting the team that actually have helped the individual role model to promote their movement, we remind people that to achieve a goal, achieve a dream, etc., we need other people, because doing everything alone is impossible. And we can help the groups thrive in the longer term, because we can gain more members in the longer term, because people think, oh, this is a group effort, let's go and let's do this together. Then we can also gain more diverse members. For example, for the feminist movement, you don't only gain women as your supporters, but also gain men as your supporters, and that's why this helps this has the protocols. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the speech. To continue the debate, let's invite a second speaker from the opening opposition. Here.
Okay, before I speak, you can ask POI in chat box. I will, or you can ask it in my speech in 5 minutes. I will accept one POA. Okay, I would like to prepare first. Ladies and gentlemen, we do a celebration. It's not only just only to remember the day, but with our celebration, we will respect the figure. We will honor the figure. We will do a specialty for the people, for the figure. Now let's go to the government's idea. Why they support the group of the peoples? Because first is the group of people is more better than individual. Second is no need the leader or also the individual figures. The third is check and balance, and the fourth is egoistic side, and also the impact of the social movement. That's already fulfilled by status quo right now. For example, Mother Days, Father Days, we are celebrities. No matter that you are a mother names such as, for example, Rizkan or Yadila, Halisa, there's no name because of what? Because no exclusivity, like for example Malala Days, because they are so exclusive. They are very brave. They are was that the figure who has a more extraordinary than the other people. That's why we support the individual role model to celebrate themselves. Now going to the characteristic of the role models, why we should do a celebration for example for Malala Day? Because for example Malala is live in Pakistan. Pakistan is full of the wars, full of the conflict, but Malala rise the education. Malala is just only a young woman who want to study, who want to get a better education. With this characteristic of the Malala, for example, she is a brave, she is telling truth, she is also sacrifice herself for to increase the issue of the society, to sacrifice their family, maybe will be being a terror by terrorists or by the crime that can treat her life as a Malala. So by this character, better we believe that we should respect and also giving an honor to the Malala, which do a celebrations Malala Day. And also for the Mother Luther King Jr. Yes, for example, Black people has already do a group protest, but there is no effective. Better than Mother Luther King, that he can attract people to follow his way, to to accept his idea, to being unequal between white and also black people in the America itself. Now going to the meaning of the celebration itself. The celebration point is itself is first is to respect the roles model of the actor or the figure. Second is to inspire people. What is important? If we want to inspire people, we have to do a unique. We have to do a speciality, such as for example, such as Malala doing. She is different than the others young women in the Pakistan. That's why we have to giving we have giving us a special effect to her also. And the third is about by celebration Malala Days, we still can continue the spirit of the Malala from one generation to the another generation. That's very important. Even the Malala died, even Luther King Jr. died, but the spirit of them still alive till now, because we believe that they are our real heroes in our life. Now, going to the second point is sacrifice is why we have to sacrifice. Why we have to do a specialization for a celebration. First, is easy to remember. For example, we can easy to say that. For example, in Pakistan, we forget the Pakistan country. The Malala has a fight for the education of the women that not happen in her country. Second is about the easy to brand it. Why the brand is very important. Such as the second government said that George put with BLM movement, but we really with that not easy to remember about the BLM movement, but we easy to remember about George Floyd who get was that discrimination by the police is up. Second is about the third is about individual figures will attract the followers. Why they can attract the followers? First is the public figure can change the society
POI.
by their character. Yes, please.
I think the problem in this motion is talk about it's not about talking the strategies we want to use to begin with, but on how we for example demonstrated menghargai for example the challenge that these groups or individuals have facing to begin with.
Yes, it's already done. For example, with civil right. For example, we celebrate in the International Robot Day. We celebrate with international human right. That's enough, but not unique. Such as, for example, like the history. For example, the was that Malacca, for example, Malacca movement is not gonna be happen again twice in at the end of the day, for example, like that. Now, going to my point is about uh, the individual figure will have was that will have a good example for the people who has a brave like for example Malala. He will was that he will get the Malala spirit to make a new social movement by brief and also training throat or something like that, because the Malala is still alive till the end of the world. That's why we have to oppose this motion, because we believe that kind of the respect and also kind of the positive impact for the figure who has a big honor, who has a big duty at the past. We have to celebrate it. I close my case.
All right, thank you for the speech. To open the closing half, let's invite the first speaker from the closing government. Here.
Give me 1 minute because my charge, my laptop charge is going to die. I will take my charge first.
Sure.
Okay, I'm here. Pronouns just by speaker orders. I will give POI. I will accept POI from OO, but if there's nothing from OO, I will accept from CO. Wait. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. I think the opening is very deadlocked because their misunderstanding of the what is the motion want to begin with. The motion is about on within what if we choose to celebrate the civil rights movement, collective movement, for example, like civil rights movement or BLM or something related to them, or we want to celebrating like individuals like Mahatma Gandhi or MLK, for example, or Malala, for example. The definition of celebrating in our case, and for example, on how we highlight this person, on or how we highlight this individual, for example, like individual, for example. So we know the their challenge or their history to begin with. It's not about we choose the strategies. For example, we want to doing the collective strategies, or we want to choose the individuals role models for to begin with. This is about on how we highlight the history, on how we highlight we want to choose to highlight their collective group, for example, not to the individual person to begin with. Three analysis. First is this is the story in the historical of the groups protesting, or the collective moment is more giving us the stories rather than the individuals. Second things is I will but before jump into the my apa before jump in jump into my analysis, let's respond all first. Opening opposition case is asking that on how the collective group will understand the issue if there is no role model, for example, if there is no leaders for this thing. I think, well, the opposition raised a valid concern about the role of leaders and the role of models within the collective protest groups. There is several things that all miss in this debate. First, I think the share of values and the share of experience is more beneficial in our side, in a collective group, because they do not necessarily require individuals or role models or leaders to understand the issues, because it's often to this group emerge from the sharing values or the sharing perspective, because at the end of the day, the collective nature allows the diverse range of perspective and voice to collective the shape understanding, and at the end of the day, the ref change because it's very diverse. And the second thing is the democratic decision and making process. In our side, if we highlight more about the collective group, because it in the reason because within the collective protest group, decisions are often made of the democratic process, because it's involved broad participation in input from all the members. This encourages that multiple viewpoints are considered, facilitating the different understanding the issues that rather than relying on the single reader's perspective, for example. In opposition case, they only rely on one person. They put burden on this person, because why this person is very highlighted in their side, because this movement or this their group, for example, they only put burden to this person. So I think this is I think at the day of the day, we think if we highlight the strategy, or we celebrate this strategy enough today, in the current social movement, for example, will I think they will use use their strategy to begin with. The third thing is, I think the knowledge sharing in our perspective in collective group protest is more foster knowledge sharing within the communities through discussion, education, and something like broadening in our case. And the fourth thing is the internal leadership development. I think in our side, the collective group is more we have to highlight them, because at the end of the day, for example, people only remember Martin Luther King Jr., for example, but at the end of the day, the other perspective from the that support MLK, for example, not being highlighted in the story, for example. That's why we have to at the end of the day support this collective movement rather than individuals. But let's back to my arguments analysis why at the end of the day the history of group collective. I think because they're at the end of the day their efforts on greater significance than the story of individuals in I think for the promoting social issues, because collective movement encompass multiple perspective, experience, and action that demonstrate the deep and the breadth of the social challenge to begin with. I think we have to more highlight this story or the history, for example,
You're
on
right.
they has a many history of from the labor units. Yes.
Yes, the problem in the collective group actually, because you have a diversal of perspective. That's why then it's really long for you to actually to process at the end of the day to create a more democratic way. For example, as your goals to actually achieve the changes. For example, answer this.
I think the problem on your case is about on how you operate with the diversity on the idea for to begin with. I think the very nature of the collective protest is group the root of the recognition and inclusion of the diverse perspective, ideas, and experience. I think this diversity encourage the movement. I think this even in your case, if you in your case it's only highlighting 1% and only for example I only for example say thanks to the 1%, for example of only for MLK on for Mahatma Gandhi. I think the idea is not only for Mahatma Gandhi to begin with, right? It's the idea from the maybe this young person or this young person that want to support this social movement to begin with, but their voice and their idea is not highlight anymore. I think in our case, if we more highlight the idea of this collective groups rather than this 1%, I think right now it will be a gift the idea to the current social movement that even though they are not their leaders or even though they are not the role model of this movement, I think their voice will be more for example will be more highlight and dihargai, for example, because at the end of the day the I think the problem in social movement is on how you share your feelings, on how you're not with only, for example, ditunggangi only one leaders, for example, but is on how you be more engaged to the community that's sharing their perspective to supporting this collective group to begin with purpose.
All right, thank you for the speech. To respond to case, let's invite the first speaker from the closing opposition. Here.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, wait. I will set my timer. For PI, just unmute yourself. Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, what we want as CEO is that how these role models are going to be better, to be celebrated, to be picturized in media rather than the collective groups, right? But first, we take a look at the debate that has been happening so far. Okay, so what we think that is lacking this debate is how there's no explanation about the idea of celebration, right? How the celebration looks like in your side of the house. OG straight up blaming these individual role models, calling them, oh, they're forcing these opinions, blah, 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 without actually considering that there are some good role models like Martin Luther King, for example, which we think that this is something that is so offensive to our side. Also, notice how OO is only playing on their best scenario, saying that, oh, these role models are people who already get recognition and etc., but they don't actually engage with the OD case and how they don't really explain to us how in the end of the day this role models gonna be better in their side of the house. Meanwhile, CG is only relying on relying on talking about how which strategy that is looks best in the activism world, but there's no clear explanation about how it looks like in their side. Within that, the burden of this debate is how we're gonna picturize the celebration, how the celebration of activism looks like in our status quo, and how it should look like in our ideal world as CEO, right? Within that,
if we're talking about celebration of activism, we're going to talk about the picturization of these protest groups or movement in media, right? Which one that is better to be picturized as superheroes than the other one, right? We're taking a look at the status quo. We're taking to look at the celebration of protest group, for example. Why the media has failed and will always fail in picturizing these protest groups in a way that will influence people greatly or influence people in a better way. Characterization of collective protest groups, they are so complex, they are so diverse. This is the thing that has not been characterized in the first place. Because inside of this internal group, for example, like BLM, people are often clashing between each other.
Why?
Example, like in, yes, is there any VR?
I've mentioned 3 criteria on what problems social movements are mostly facing. How do you actually like solve these issues from gaining a major support to coalitions and check and balances for relevance in society? Please engage.
Okay, I have not yet finished my speech. Continue. Example, BLM. In BLM, even people inside BLM are clashing with each other. What this means? This creates a differentiation, a segregation on how they act and represent their movement. Because these collective groups are actually something that is so large scale, and it often breaks into smaller groups, but under the same umbrella. They act and represent the same movement, like feminism or Black Lives Matter, and etc. For example, climate change movement. The climate change movement in Chicago and Texas, the act, the representation gonna be different. How? Because that is how different people are, how complex people are. For example, we know that the case of how these climate change activists who are spoiling or throwing foods on paintings or art in order to protest on the fossil oil gas that is currently happening and how it is possibly harming the climate change, right? And this is something that the media has no choice but to report, right? And the media will either picturize it as superheroes or just some idiots who are throwing foods just because they need recognition. We think that this kind of thing, this fact, it shows that how the media will always fail to actually influence people greatly on how this is giving a good spectacle of people, because celebrating them as either superheroes and idiots will not going to solve the root of the problem, right? Lots of people say, oh, these climate change activists, what is the correlation of them throwing foods to the paintings just because they want to protest about fossil fuel? Well, the other people saying, oh, they're superheroes who actually just want recognition. So it shows that there will be a segregation and differentiation in public's opinion. So in the end of the day, this movement, there is no clear value and goal that can make us characterize them, that can make people actually take example of them, because the people are so complex in the first place. Which is why it shows that how in the end of the day our mechanism going to be better, our value going to be better, because how we're going to put the role models into the spotlight, because we think that they are way better in terms of being celebrated and picturized. How so? Because we know that the characteristic of role models, they have the power to actually influence the diversity of people, right? We actually agree with OG exactly, because these people have the power to influence a large scale of people. All the diversities will be unified by them. These people, this particular person, they are the ones who actually represent their case. So even though people inside them are actually clashing, have different opinions, somehow they're able to analyze it, try to unify them, and try to put it in the spotlight into one clear value that all people can understand. So in the end of the day, the perception of other people towards these movement will be specific and will be clear enough, because because all the segregation and all the differentiation is already being captured by this particular role model who are able to put it clearly in the spotlight, right?
Joy.
So this is, yes.
What exactly is this one exclusivity if a social movement is being led by a certain individual role model as a leader? We've mentioned ours by our 3 crucial criteria. Please engage.
That is basically it. Because how the characteristic of your collective group are so diverse, in the end of the day, they need a particular someone who will able to unify and somehow become the representation of the whole value. So in the end of the day, other people who watch your movement will not either believing you or either glorifying you as superheroes. Even though we also acknowledge your worst case, even though this role model is forcing people about a bad values that they hold. For example, like Hitler, right? Okay, Hitler is bad. We can all agree about that. But in the end of the day, it gives a clear a clear purpose, and it gives a clear purpose for other people who watch Hitler to actually able to criminalize them, because how he become the representation, right? Rather than if this anti-Semitic movement, for example, or this movement is actually something collective, people will be segregated in their opinions. How? Because the people inside the movement are also very diverse. Say example of the case of Palestine and Israel. We know that all the Jews in in Europe and etc., when they are actually demonstrating towards the Palestinian case, some of them are very violent, right? And somehow they're still being picturized as superheroes. And there are a lot of people who are cheering on them. But there are also other people who actually are not like that. The Jews, or especially the Orthodox Jews, who actually not supporting the idea of how the Israelis are keep blaming and keep hurting the Palestinians, right? For example. But in the end of the day, these people are not being put in the spotlight by the media, because the majority that actually giving more chaos and giving more spotlight to themselves are only these particular people who are violent. So in the end of the day, the inclusivity in your stat will no longer there, and it will not able to cater all people in the end of the day. So which is why, because of this, we think that our mechanism is way more better than your side of the house. That's all from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the speech. Let's invite the last speaker from the government benches, the government web. Here.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Judges, two contributions that I will bring in this debate. First is argumentation, and the second is comparison. Okay, let's engage to the CO case. CO case say that about the climate change movement, there are different group and people are complex. But see that even if this is will happen in your side of house, because what? Because in your side of house, not all the individual you want to give a spotlight have a same mindset, right? See in the status quo where there is a telegram, right? For example, one of them support the climate change, one of them is not support that one. They will clashing each other because why? Because they are very extreme. See the characteristic of the fans of individual this individual, right? They are very extreme. They will bela their individual rather than think what is true and what is wrong at the end of the day. The second, you said that they will influence large people and they represent clashing. They are able to unite. This is, but again, CEO never give us the prerequisite how this can happen in the start in at the end of the day, right? So don't credit this one. And then CEO said that yeah, we understand Hitler is bad, but he has a clear purpose. This is we cannot justify this one, because to choose a good figure, you have to choose a good person for at the end of the day, right? How see that this is very bad at the end of the day, because what? Because you choose a wrong people to be your spotlight, for example. Meanwhile, as a young generation, you have to see what is good and then what is the best for us, right? And then I think opposition side will be afraid to be part of social movement, because on your side they will glorify Mahatma Gandhi as an individual, for example. So when they want to be part of social movement, they will ask if I should be Mahatma Gandhi, who is super smart. No, but we will say not it's okay wrong, like of it's okay you have wrong and lack of knowledge, at least you fight for it rather than you will be smart and like Mahatma Gandhi, for example, right? Okay, next let's give to comparison toward OO said that there is like a check and balance, and then the group protest group is very egocentric, and they said as individual they can change the society, but as always bring the best case and forget about the harm will come if the individual do harm thing in the end of the day, right? You never see the clear of the clear characteristic of your individualist, because they just show the best of them, right? They never see the bad habit, the bad habit of them, right? So it is very bad at the end of the day. And the second, OO said they will be more productive, and then they will submit the collective right at the end of the day. But I say that there is no prerequisite that OO said to us, and then they can't prove to us that they will be more productive than us. And then my first speaker already told you that we will be more productive, and then we will more good at the end of the day. And then you said that they will gain more follower. Is more likely not happen in the side of the house, because what? Because they don't have more. This is likely more happen in our side of us, because of what? Because we have more people who are in the group, and then it's about culture approach, and they are stick with that one, right? Next, they say that the past is easy to remember, but same like this one, you said that bad thing is really easy to remember, even if you for example, you are individual, and then you do bad things, and then all your kindness will disappear in the one times, because of what? Because they will not remember what what your kindness, but they will rather remember what bad things you do to others, right? And then see that the characters, they always say that the characters of Malala, they rest dedication, but there are many Malala outside, but we never heard about that one, because they are not final, for example, so we don't know about them. This is really not, this is not equal for them, because what? Because they fight for them, but because just because they are not knowing, so we never credit that one, right? So you said that even if Malala is died, but we still remember. See, in the status quo, even if when Malala died, many of young generation nowadays doesn't know about Malala, right? Rather than you focus about the Malala or the person, you should be focused on the issue of what they want to say. Example, in one group, right? Even if that person from one group of that one die, we will still remember about that. But the idea and the issue and the what they want to campaign, because what? Because there is the group, then we still remember that one. Okay, and the next comparison toward OG. Why CG is better than OG? CG can explain more why collective protest groups rather than individual is happen. My first speaker already told you that they will focus on they will focus from the issue and the group, not about the individual, right? We can show you that this is more good at the end of the day, because why? Because why? There is no propaganda for example. There is a culture approach for them, and then there is they because even if they don't have achievement, for example, but they are in the one group, they will still be glorified, because they are in the one group. They don't have to be smart, for example, or they don't have to be do something very very extravagant, but they are already good. If you just always glorify one person, at the end of the day, many of them will questioning themselves. Are they okay to be the spotlight? Are they okay? They will always comparing themselves, rather than in the one group they will shine. Right. And then see in the status quo that Lisa Blackpink case. Lisa Blackpink is really known about a K-pop culture, right? But someday Lisa go to Crazy Horse, and then because this individual is really extremist, they forget what Lisa do at the end of the day. They forget what Lisa bring to the K-pop, what Lisa the profit from Lisa, right? So this is very very bad at the end of the day, because what? Because you just glorify one person, and then you don't see their kindness, and then you never see what will happen. And then at the end of the day, if they are bad, you will directly forget about what they bring, what they want to do, right? Thank you.
All right, thank you for the speech. To close the entire debate, let's invite the opposition whip. Here.
Okay. Wait, I will set my personal timer. And for POI preference, please just unmute. Gender, she, her. I will start. Oh, wait. I will start my speech in. Oh, wait. Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, basically what we want is we want to make sure that the media highlights the heroes, right? The individuals who are doing everything to change these things. The collectives are not doing anything as valuable as the individuals. Now, couple of rebuttals to CG, right? So CG basically said that, oh, there will still be diversification. One celebrity will say this and other will say this. However, individuals are able to captivate the opposition into focusing the real problem. So there will be actually less diversity. Basically, role models will be better in picturizing the value of a movement as a whole and will make a more clear society perception to what is the actual problem here. An example, right? Animal rights activists. When it's scattered and shouting on animal A, B, C, D, saying that, oh, this animal deserves this, that animal deserves this, people are not likely going to feel anything, especially if it's like ranting and shouting. People are not going to feel empathy on that. But when it's just a video of a kitten being beaten up, what do you feel? You will actually cry and people will feel something, right? People will be more interested into this animal activist thing because they are seeing a kitten being beaten up and it's not just some random ranting. So the kitten here is the role model, right? Yes.
Okay, seeing the status quo that the conflict between Palestine and Israel, people just remember about Justin Bieber and Gigi Hadid, who they support rather than the issue of Palestine and Israel, for example. Okay.
Okay, so basically the problem with that is because right now there's like no role model on that, right? There is like the media doesn't picturize the role model of Palestine. They don't show what really is happening in Palestine. They just show like what's happening in Israel. That's why people are more supporting Israel. They just show like the bad things that are happening to Israel, but they don't show like the kids that are being bombed in Palestine. They don't show that. The media don't show that. That's exactly the problem that we are trying to fix. Now, okay, moving on, like on the rebuttals, right? So even if there's like still huge diversity on like one celebrity say this and other will say this, it won't be as extreme as collectives, right? Because when there's diversity in like collectives effort or collectives movement, people will tend to use violence on that. Like people will use gas, a tear gas, or they will like use senjata tajam or something like that, right? And then CG said that, oh, we don't explain how to unite it. Actually, we did. And as my like partner has stated, it's basically when it's led by someone, everything will be organized. And the thing with collective movement is no one is leading it, right? And that's why it's like very unorganized, very scattered, and it's unable to captivate the opposition's heart. It's unable to make people focus on the real problem that is like happening, right? And then CG say that, oh, more people meaning that we'll be able to gain more followers. However, CG doesn't really explain, and I don't quite understand the logic how more people will be able to gain more followers. Now, moving on to rebuttals towards OG, right? Now, OG says that people have a shallow lack of understanding. Like even if it doesn't align with their principle, they will still support it. That's what OG said. However, if it doesn't align with their principle or their pendirian or something like that, they will support it. Like exactly, it's because they are feel represented by like Hitler on their example that they support Hitler, right? It's basically because it's aligned by to their principle, and that's why they support it. And okay, even if like these people are being later, even if like these people are being manipulated by Hitler or something, we don't live in the Hitler area anymore. If there's like Hitler in status quo, there are social media that's continue this Hitler, right? That there are social media that are canceling these Hitlers or something like that. Then OG said that collective group helps the individual model. It's giving credit and it's giving a message that everyone cannot do alone, right? However, it's not exclusive on their side because individuals usually credit those who help them. And even if they don't credit like those who help them, people will hate them for not crediting them, right? People will hate people that are egoistical, and that is something that will make sure that these people will credit the people that has helped them. So it's giving the same message that we cannot do this alone. And like that's the whole point, right? Now moving on to my extensions, right? Why individuals' voice matter more? Because they protest in the right way already. Later.
I mean.
Huh? Yeah, okay. So later. So why individuals' voice matter more? Because like they protest in the right way already. They're showing a good example, talking about things that action matters, and most importantly is from personal experience. People will have more empathy towards like personal experience because it's just one person as opposed to group. It's just one person is seen as vulnerable as opposed to like a whole group that is usually seen as a threat by a lot of people, right? And groups are usually advocating from assumptions, not from like personal experience. Yes, maybe there are like a couple of victims in that group, for example, Black Lives Matter, but mostly are just from assumptions, like saying, oh, Black people are like being oppressed way too much. It's like being
Point from
exaggerated,
CG.
right? Yeah, sure.
I think the purpose of the celebration is how we remember the effort and story, and how do we motivate the current generation, right? What CEO need to prove to us on why on your side people not put unrealistic standard or unrealistic expectation, or in the worst case people will afraid to join social movement because the society will put the pressure that you have to be like Mahatma Gandhi to join the social movement to begin with.
Okay, so first of all, like that's not going to happen at all, right? People, it's because like right now in the status quo, there are actually a lot of victims, like a lot of people that have stories. But however, like the problem is media are not highlighting them because they are highlighting the activism, right? Basically, their story is like buried under this activism stories. Now, like why is this activism stories like very bad, right? Because activism nowadays, we have seen that it's not going for the value that they intended. It's now right now it's like very explicit, very vulgar, using violence and stuff, and this makes people not interested in joining like this group or activism at all. And then people that join, they will think that it's the right thing, like doing violence and stuff. They will think it's the right thing for the people that want to join. And the thing is, like even if like the thing is like activism will be like worse and worse day by day because they think like these people are like these bad things, like violence is like the way to protest, even though like these individuals have shown that it's not the right thing, right? So like media highlight this activism way too much, and then this creates generalization, right? When it's like in a group like PLM, when someone does like violence, then the whole group gets hated. The whole group like gets said that, oh, this is like bad, etc., etc. And then the rise of opposition group that uses also violence will also rise, and this will create more like threats to the Black people or something. And thank you.
All right, thank you to Government Whip. That's the end of the debate. I will tell you about the rank and also like giving the verbal adjudications after some minutes.
Hola, hola, hola.
Hujan POA ya Kalisa. Aku udah di rumah, guys. Kipasnya kenceng amat. Kenapa? Oh, kipas.
Hi, Kalisa. Finally, we met
Hello.
again. Hello, I cannot show off my face because it's quite dark here. I don't want to be ugly.
Oh, please. I'm also ugly because I just got home.
No, I'm sorry. No, no offense, right? I'm just joking. You know, it's dark, like means you don't see my face. Something wrong with my lighting. So, Halisa preparing for what? What are you going to join? Like, what debate you are going to apply? Or you just registered already?
Actually, nothing. I'm just having fun here.
Oh my gosh, try. I mean, join the open category, right? So it's fun because you can experience with the varsity level, or even the coach. Sometimes the coach join the debate is quite good, right?
Yeah. I joined Indo Open like on 7 October, I think. Yeah, and I'm still traumatized, so I'm not going to join any competitions.
Traumatized? No. So the question is, you go for fun, but I can see. I mean, like, of course, you need the progress in your debating, right? So like join the competition is something good, but also we need to invest our money, right? At the same time. So yeah, nothing for free for the debate. I never see that such debating for free. Unlike NUDC Academy, right? So even that one, I mean, you go for national NSDC, you have to pay for your teams. Even your school pay for that, still not free, right? So yeah.
My school doesn't pay for these things.
Really?
No.
But you participated at any NSDC in what year?
This year actually, but like apa ya, nggak dibayarin.
Oh well, so you pay by yourself then?
Yeah, basically yeah.
I didn't. What school are you represent? Well, Kalimantan, right? I mean, like province.
Oh, I'm from Tangsel.
Oh, Tangerang Selatan. So let me check the tabulation. But it's okay. No, I don't do that. I mean, yeah, it's good though to see NSDC students, NSDC debater. I can say basically, we also from varsity or even coach learn a lot from that NSDC. Quite, like kalau anak SMA itu kan mau gebu-gebu ya. That is exactly somehow the vibes that we experience to see. I even tell my students to see some of NSDC levels. I mean, even in the preliminary, it's quite amazing to watch, because they actually seems like they are the best of their province representatives. So I think I'm so proud to see you guys, and I can imagine you if you still going for debating at the varsity level. So it's going to be mesmerizing for me, for us, for all of us. Yeah. So continue. Don't say that you traumatize yourself just because you joined the open, because the debate's not about win, right, and lose. It's about the process. Then how then you can get progress upon the process. Is that the most important?
See, that's why I'm still starting.
Yeah, it means that maybe you prepare from other open debate, right, or any high school debate. Yeah, that's what though. So your first speaker also your teammate, as you
Kenapa?
So your first speaker was your teammate at NSDC this year? First speaker of CO?
For what? For NSDC?
For NSDC.
Oh,
or different
no,
individual?
I was the third speaker. Yeah.
I mean, like your teammates. So you're third speaker, and now you have a first speaker from CO. So your teammate, she was your teammate, or you are the same person? I didn't recognize your voice, by the way.
Wait,
like
I'm confused
speaker.
now.
Yeah, but you are second speaker, right, or first speaker?
Oh, in this part?
This part.
Oh yeah, I was the second speaker.
And then your first speaker was your
My
teammate?
first speaker? Yeah, my
Was
no. No.
different individual.
Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
so. Yeah, you can say that.
Okay. Yeah, you can sometimes ajak temen kamu satu tim biar lebih seru gitu. For your NSDC. But different school, no? Should be the same school, right?
Yeah, like that's exactly the problem that I'm having. I don't have friends from the same school.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like for NSDC, it was actually mixed with other school, with British school Jakarta, because I don't have friends.
But mostly I see the provincial representative, they call for the school. It's not for mix, or some of the teams mix, right? If there's any solution, because suppose the best speaker being picked, right, or not being picked by chosen by the speaker score. For example, you first best speaker, then second for another school. But I see like most of them represent their school, isn't it?
Yeah. Usually, like you represent your own school. Like each school have to like send 3 people, right? But the thing is, in my school, there's only, I wasn't into debate. NSDC was actually my first time debating. So yeah. So the school only sent me because they thought that, I'm good at English, so I should do this. And I was like, okay, sure, but I don't know how to debate, right? And then, like, coincidentally, British School Jakarta only sent 2 people. So like
Mm.
instead of getting disqualified, we just told the committee about that and mix us together.
Yeah, but that one is acceptable, right?
Mhm.
Under Puspresnas BPTI, so it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true because you were there. Okay. Yeah. So you'll be joining next year for sure. What class are you in now? What grade are you in now?
I'm grade 12 right now, so yeah.
Ah, okay. So we see you in the
Unfortunately.
varsity level then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kalisa, that's good though. Hey others, don't sleep. Rian, Chitra. So basically, they are my students anyway.
Oh, they're your students?
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
are my
God.
student. Not my. I'm not a coach of the. I mean, I'm just like pembimbing, like they have their. I mean, I'm just like advisor for them. By the way, Citra, Rian, the CG, and also Kaito. Kaito, it was my my teammate for the next coming Nofet, and also INT.
Aku juga ikut Novet.
Ya, ayo, semangat,
Semangat.
semangat
Pura-pura nggak kenal
beronline.
ya besok ya. Pura-pura nggak kenal aja.
Oh, we all know you though.
No.
Sometimes it's good to have the feeling friendliness, because this way not make you more nervous because you already like measure this person's good, for example, better than me, for example, or I'm better than this person, maybe you can expect, but then like it's good to have a friends. I think debating is about debating community. That's why then very often the leader of BPTI always mention that basically please create a good friendship, other than competition. I mean, exchange your number, exchange your knowledge. That's kind of the progressivity that they expect actually to happen in the debating community. So like we against each other, but we can be more friendlier than before to each other. I mean, we can be like raw in the debate, but yeah, we can really be friendly outside of this debate. That is exactly. I mean, I'm too old to say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless.
But like honestly, okay, ini from my experience ya. So like kapan kayaknya beberapa minggu yang lalu I ikut competition kan online tuh. And like
Mhm.
I was trying to talk with other participants, right? And no one replied to me. Like they are so, I don't know, sombong, not sombong. Or like gitu deh.
Perhaps they do something else. Sometimes like that, people after they debate and then they just stop. I mean, they move to another activity. So yeah, kind of. Yeah, but you can feel so sometimes. You don't know people, right? Especially when you join the online competition. It can be different, by the way. But you can see people.
Mhm.
Even me, for
Yeah.
example, if I'm talking, no means I don't do anything else. If I just keep silent, it means I have to do something else.
Mhm.
Some people really how can I say that very lazy to actually talk to people just because they think that okay, I did my things. I mean, I joined this part because I want to do this. I mean, it depends on some people very extrovert, some people very introvert, some people in between.
Yeah, and that's why I prefer offline competition. It's, I don't know, more fun,
Yeah, since you are
more
still
traumatizing, but more fun.
traumatized, so you were traumatized through also senior level, but partially even traumatized you. No, I don't try to to how can I say horrifying you, but yeah, it's just like more competitive, I could say, because of a lot of like varsity level competition online, offline, particularly in UDC. So yeah, prepare for you in UDC for the next year.
Okay, from Chitra, how's life? My life, uh, Again, traumatized. I mean, traumatized, but I also feel good. Yeah, my life has been good. Especially that, apa ya, ulanganku udah selesai. So yeah. Oh, thank you. Emang Kalimantan nggak punya mangga? Karena Kalimantan harusnya punya mangga. Aku mau mangga, kirimin. Malam, guys. Wait, so Aksan, berarti, oh wait,
Yes.
you
Yes.
ngajar di universitas mana?
Universitas Muhammadiyah Sidenden Rapang. You don't know that,
Oh.
right?
Enggak.
So that's the CG University, closing government university.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's basically it's a new merge university from STKIP and PSIF. So yeah, it's been established I think since 2019. So it's quite new university. But what I do like the most from this university is that it's close to my house, just 5 minutes from my house. It's pretty easy to me to reach the office at university and giving me, like because I was a debater since varsity, I could say seriously, but it's not that as serious as today because until today I'm still joining the spar. I mean, we need to progress, right? Without the practice, it's really hard to actually reach a certain level. I mean, especially when you do double job. I mean, what I mean by that, like you are students at the same time you are worker. That's kind of like yeah, threat of as well.
Yeah.
You even lose some of them, like it's not really as a I mean high quality level, maybe like in between. For example, you want to be a good debater, for example, me. No, I'm just like I'm just having my sense of belonging of debating. It's because I'm still interacting to my students. Most of the times even do select them for NUDC. So that's kind of the process I have to get. If I don't know about debate, how then I choose the best candidate, for example. Even me, not like a such good debater or even even accredited judge in the process, by the way. But yeah, still, if you don't stop to practice, then you can reach certain level that you expect.
Yeah.
I can
For me,
relate
it's like,
sih.
Yeah,
oh really?
say you
How?
relate.
Kayak like you said gitu, kayak you kan kayak you have people to teach. I was like that as well gitu. Like I need to teach my juniors, tapi in the
Mhm.
end for my own progress tuh kayak terbengkalai gitu.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but you are maybe different in a different, let's say, but mine is that I put debate. I mean, like if you're talking about debating, so you being a coach, for example, someone you focus to betterize people, but then you don't care about your personal progress. But I would say that actually, if you have different field, for example, like something you've been teaching different things. For example, me, I don't teach English, by the way. Imagine, for example, if I'm English lecturer or teacher, so that's supposed like a linear or similar object to be teaching. But then now I'm teaching another culture as a scientist, as a researcher. Then I have to go for public speaking, which is English, but it's good though for me. But somehow it's conflicting myself, and in a way we have a limited time. By the way, it's all about like time management. But yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
because I'm 30s, so that is exactly the peak of my productivity. That's why I see myself like I have to do this, I have to do this, because after 30s, 40, 50s, so that's the moment actually I have to enjoy my life. I stop in this. I just need to be there. Maybe I even like okay, I said regenerate again, like find out the persons who handle this NUDC for the next 5 years, the next 6 years, or the next 10 years, because the debating is progressive, right? But now I'm still okay for that. I'm still like also join the competition. So this process is quite, how can I say, quite um prestige for me. It's a good opportunity, by the way. Since I'm a student as well, that's also another thing. So I'm a student at the university, like Kaito. Kaito is a student as a worker as well as a civil servant. So that basically a process. He even told me to stop debate because he said that he want to pension from this debate. And I said, no, you will never stop until you get what you want. Then yeah, he is a coach. Kaito, am I right?
No, I'm student.
You are a student. Then I'm wrong. Okay.
Yes.
Ya,
Kelas
Dinda.
9 tuh kayak masih bayi banget deh.
Tapi nggak
Yeah.
kerasa nanti simply kalian udah kuliah kayak too fast then.
Bayi banget deh.
Iya, makanya aku tuh bingung.
Bingung kenapa?
Di
Kaito
Kalimantan
kelas
itu kan
9.
banyak mangga. Dan sekarang itu hujan. Aku nggak bisa beli, tapi aku nonton orang makan mangga.
Kayaknya aku
Di
masih
sini
punya banyak
parah
mangga deh.
banget, Le.
Di Lombok mangga cuma 2.000.
Aduh,
Murah banget.
iya.
Aduh,
Iya,
murah banget, pengen. Mau kirimin sini.
mangga yang
Kalau aku
gede-gede
sih-
itu lagi.
Oh wow. Profit.
Yeah, that's why.
Are they sweet?
Iya.
Mangga madu literally cuma 2.000. Di Jakarta emang berapaan sih?
Nggak tahu sih.
Tangsel ya?
Mangga di aku
Kali-
gratis. Soalnya dikirimin.
Alah.
Is the weather like really hot in your place, guys?
Iya. Panas banget.
Sumpah aku juga panasan sampai sekarang aja masih kepanasan padahal nyalain AC.
Ya
Tapi
kan?
setidaknya aku punya mangga. Nggak kayak yang lain. Pengen. 41? What? Wait, what? Hold on.
Oh, all right. Hi everyone. I'm done with my notes to arrange my notes. So yeah. Okay, like you guys talking about something. So I will write down on the chat box about the rank. Oh, it's okay. All right. That's the rank of the debate, and actually the one who held this sparring asking for the best speaker. So the first best speaker goes to the first speaker from closing opposition. The second best speaker goes to the first speaker from opening government. And the third best speaker goes to the first speaker of opening oppositions. So from 1 to 3, the best speakers are first speaker from CO, first speaker from the OG, and first speaker from the OO. That's the thing. Well, first of all, before jump to giving the general portray on the debate, I would like to appreciate everyone for this debate because you all did cool in today's sparring, and I feel like it's a bit hard for me to put your rank because each team has a very very close scores. And I feel like sometimes okay, they concern more about distances, and some are concerned more about the rebuttal, some are more practical, and some are more principle and so on. So it's a bit hard to put the rank, so I really appreciate you for doing this debate. It's really cool. But yeah, first of all, I'm gonna talking about the general things in the debate, what you should talk, maybe you should add in the debate. But yeah, just a short reminder that basically as an educator you have to judge the debate as what it is, but this is gonna be the general feedback. Maybe later you find such kind of motions you can improve yourself in certain points. Well, first of all, in this debate, I feel like you have to maintain two things: the principle, ideas, and also the practicality. Well, I feel like 4 of the teams already mentioned a lot about practicalities and how you give examples, proof, and explain more, giving an analogy with BLM movements and the role model in Central, which is very, very great. But I feel like most of the debaters forget about the principal ideas, how you should maintain more about for example, the idea of movement itself, the idea of collective protest, the idea of role models, and for example, involving a lot of stakeholders how this kind of things are gonna relate to the society interest and further implications, benefit and harm, and so on. I feel like first of all, in the idea of movement, this is something that I think very very lacking to the all of the themes because you concern a lot about what the current issues, benefit and harm, and so on, but I feel like you forgot to highlighting the idea of movement itself. Like for example, why then this kind of movement exists? Because they coming for answering the problems, right? They have the certain purpose. So you think that to achieving that purpose you have to be very very inclusive or very exclusive, and this kind of purpose may be oh wait a minute, are you recording this? Oh okay. Oh wait a minute.
Much.
Yeah, thank you so
Okay,
much,
bro.
guys. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
all.
much too, Kid Eater. Bye-bye.
Kenapa direkam lagi kayak itu? You want to
Aku nggak dibolehin tadi.
Ya, exactly. Karena itu kan harus consent juga ya. I mean, like mereka kadang, ya, apalagi kamu mau upload kan, several times I saw from your YouTube and it's published. I think that one actually you need to ask the consent because that's oral education can be like very judgmental for other judge, for example, because this is sparring, right? So yeah, it's better actually to if you want to record the debate because people can have different results, right? Like judge can be different to see who is the win, who's the lose, the failures. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much for the sparring. So you want to say something, Kaito, about the debate today?
Ya, wajar aku kalah kan sama kakak Lisa, kan lebih muda.
Ya dek, tidur dek. Udah malam dek, ulta dek.
Emang clear banget tadi di ininya second speakernya kayak muncul karakterisasi yang itu kayak kita kan takut kadang-kadang bikin new matter ya, dan ya memang kita kurang tadi itu pas si ini yang bagian selebrasi kan ya, tapi itu it's already kayak udah di kredit sama juri gitu karena itu kan bagian dari kontribusi juga. Dan basically itu kan masih nyambung, apalagi tadi saya sempat nyinggung media juga masih ke bawah. Waktu awal-awal saya pikir ini repetitif, tapi in the end of the day aku bilang menang ini dari sisi karakterisasi. But honestly I don't know exactly how to say, but I put kayak menang nih kayaknya nih CEO nih. In a way like kayak memang ketika kita tuh ya udah kita culik aja itunya terus kita reframing ini mereka gitu loh. Karena memang ketika tadi saya nyinggung media ada sedikit tapi enggak, ini karena saya ragu-ragu dengan case tersebut gitu. Because is it really that we are going to play because it's something that is done in the past. But then untung saya sebut masalah transfer bahwasannya heroic